So welcome once again. Today we are going to discuss the property of capillarity in the subject of fluid mechanics. Until now you have discussed with me the topic of surface tension. So it is an extension of this property, capillarity. So what happens in capillarity, if I take a fluid and I dip a tube of glass in this fluid, the fluid will either rise or it will fall. The level of fluid will be rising or falling inside the tube. So here this is the rise and here this is the fall of the tube. So this tube, which is having a very small diameter, the diameter of this, the ratio of diameter to the height of the tube is even less than 1 by 100, then it is called a capillary. A very thin tube is called capillary. And this can be experienced on the earth during the rainy season, and the earth is having very small holes and they act like a capillary, and the water goes inside the earth through these capillary tubes. The water container made of earth gets cooled because of the capillary action. It is having very small holes on its surface called pores. They act like small capillaries, and the water comes out of these through the capillary action and gets evaporated because of the heat present in the surroundings. So we are going to discuss this capillary. Before discussing the capillary, let us discuss what are the forces which are responsible for this. So we have these type of forces: the cohesive forces, the adhesive forces. Cohesive forces means the force of attraction among the molecules of the liquid. So forces which are dominant, the attraction forces among the molecules of the same liquid. And as far as the adhesive forces are concerned, these are forces of attraction between the molecules of the liquid and the container molecules of the solid. The container in which the fluid is contained is made of, that is a solid. So the force of attraction between the molecules of the container of the solid and the molecules of the liquid, they are called the adhesive forces. Suppose we have the liquid filled inside a tube. That is a solid, and this is the level of the liquid, the surface of the liquid. The surfaces may be concave or they may be convex. So this is the surface like this. In this case, the liquid is going to rise, and the reason I will be explaining. And in this case, in this type of surface which is convex, this is concave, and this is convex, the level of liquid is going to fall. Now there is a reason behind this. This is the wall of the container in which the fluid is contained, and this is a level showing the meniscus of the fluid. Now there are two types of forces, cohesive and adhesive. Let P be the cohesive force. P shows the cohesive force, and the adhesive force among the liquid molecules is shown by Q. So the resultant of these two will decide whether this will rise or fall. Now there are two cases. P is greater than Q, that is the cohesive forces are more than adhesive forces, and second is P is less than Q. The adhesive forces are more than the cohesive forces. So in this case, let us take P greater than Q. The cohesive forces are more than the adhesive forces. So the resultant of P and Q will pass through the solid like this. This is the resultant R. So in this case, the resultant will be passing through the solid. This is the solid. Here we have liquid on this side. So the shape of this liquid will be like this. This is called the meniscus. This is concave meniscus. And if the adhesive forces are dominant, the shape will be like this. These are the cohesive forces, and adhesive forces will be dominant in this case. Q is adhesive. Q vector is shown with having larger magnitude than P vector, and the resultant in this case R will be passing through the liquid. So the shape of meniscus will be convex. In this case, the level is going to fall. Now there is another term called the angle of contact, which is very important, which explains how the fluid rises and falls. Now in the first case, where P is greater than Q, this is the case. The cohesive forces are more than adhesive forces, so the liquid level is going to rise. The shape of meniscus will be like this. This is concave surface. If I draw a tangent here to this meniscus, so this tangent is making this angle theta with the wall. This angle is called contact angle. If theta is less than 90 degree, in that case, the surface is concave and the level of the liquid rises. Now in the second case, where the adhesive forces are more, in this case, if I draw the tangent to the meniscus, it is having this angle, making this angle theta, which is more than 90 degree and less than 180 degree. So in this case, the level of the liquid falls. So it is called capillary fall, and the first one is called capillary rise. This happens in case of general fluid like water contained in glass. For pure water and glass, pure means distilled water and glass, the angle of contact is 0 degree. And for glass and mercury, the angle of contact is 137 degree. So this is how the water or any other liquid rises or falls when it is contained in a capillary. So note it down please. Now let us discuss the capillary rise or fall. What is the formula for this and how does it happen actually? So here we have a tube, capillary tube. This is the capillary tube and a fluid is contained in this, and the shape of meniscus I have taken here to be concave. The angle of contact is less than 90 degree, so the level of fluid will be rising. Now let us discuss how this rises. The meniscus is having a radius of curvature given by capital R, and small r is the radius of the capillary tube. Now we have discussed in the topic of surface tension that inside a bubble, the radius of which is r, the excess pressure is equal to 2T by r, or 4T by r, it was 4T by r, and inside a raindrop it was equal to 2T divided by R. It means that for a surface like this, on this side, the pressure is, that is on this side, the pressure is always more than the pressure on the other side. So this side of surface is formed. It means that pressure on this side is more than the pressure just inside the liquid. If I take 2 points, one point here and another point here, point 1 and point 2. It means that if at point 2 we have pressure, if at point 1 the pressure is at point 1, pressure should be equal to P0. Then at point 2, pressure is P0 minus 2T divided by R. Difference of pressure on the two sides is 2T by R, as you can see here. So on this side the pressure is lower, whereas on this side the pressure is higher. So there is a difference of pressure, and to compensate for this, the liquid is going to rise. Now you can see the relation between these two, small r and capital R. I can write cos theta. Theta is the angle of contact, small r by capital. So you can see here, pressure at a point which is just above the meniscus is P0, the atmospheric pressure, and the pressure just below this inside the liquid is P0 minus 2T by R. Now pressure at same level must be same. So to compensate this, the liquid from the surroundings, that is in the container in which it has been kept, this flows into the capillary tube to make the pressure equal, and as a result the liquid level rises to a height h until the pressure becomes equal at point 1 and at point 2. So if the liquid rises to a height h, this is the new level. This is the initial level of the liquid. H is the rise. So the pressure increase is given by H rho G. Rho is the density of the fluid, and this must be equal to 2T divided by R. That is the surface tension of the liquid. So when these two pressures become equal at point 1 and point 2, the rise of the liquid stops. So I can write H is 2T by R rho G. And we can put the value of R in terms of tube radius from this equation. So this is 2T cos theta divided by R rho G. So H directly depends upon cos theta. H directly depends upon the surface tension. H inversely proportional to radius of the tube, and rho into G is the specific weight of the fluid. This is constant for a particular fluid. So H is 1 by rho G, specific weight of the fluid. So you can see that when cos theta is positive, that means theta is less than 90 degrees. H is positive. The liquid level rises and the surface is having concave shape. If theta is more than 90 and less than 180, in that case cos theta negative and H is negative, means the liquid falls and the surface of the meniscus will be convex like this. So this is in case of mercury with glass. Theta is more than 90, less than 180, so the liquid level falls. If I dip it in the mercury, so the liquid level falls from this point to this point, and this is generally water and glass. Theta here is less than 90, so the liquid level rises from this point to this point. So this is the formula for the liquid level rise or fall, how to calculate it inside the tube. Next we will be calculating this with the help of the weight of the liquid column after this. That is an alternate method for finding the same formula. So now we are discussing the alternate method of finding the same formula for capillary rise or fall. So this is the same capillary tube in which the liquid rises to a height h to compensate the excess pressure here. So now let us consider what are the forces acting on this column of liquid. Its weight is acting in the downward direction. So the weight of the liquid column which rises above this level inside the tube, this is equal to m into g, which is volume into density into g, and volume, if I consider this to be a cylinder, although this is not a true cylinder, so pi r square h rho g, this is the weight. Now how this weight is balanced? This is balanced by the surface tension force which is acting along the circumference of the liquid. So I have shown this in this figure. This is the element of the fluid just above it. So if I consider this surface, then the surface tension force is acting along the circumference. So it is given by T, surface tension of the liquid, multiplied by the length, which is 2 pi r. So it is acting tangential to the surface everywhere. T into 2 pi r, T into 2 pi r. Theta is the angle of the contact. So if I resolve this force into horizontal and vertical components, the vertical component is T into 2 pi r cos theta, horizontal component is T into 2 pi r sin theta. So horizontal component in horizontal direction along the circumference of the circle everywhere, so it will be cancelled out. So what is the remaining force is the only vertical component, T into 2 pi r cos theta, and this has to be balanced by the weight, which is equal to pi r square h rho g. So from this we can write h is 2t cos theta divided by r rho g. So you are getting the same formula. Now we are having a tube in which the liquid level rises through a height h. If I take another tube, the length of which is less than the rise of the liquid level, that is, this height is h through which the liquid rises, and the radius of curvature of the surface is r. If I take another tube and dip it in the same liquid, the height of this tube is less than h. So what will happen? My question is that if this height is say h dash and h dash is less than h, then for the same fluid, will the fluid come out of this surface like a fountain? Well, this is going to violate the law of conservation of energy, and this never happens. How does it happen? Let us discuss. We know that h is 2t cos theta divided by r rho g. R is the radius of the tube, and if I write it in terms of the radius of curvature, this is given by 2t by r. So the product of h and r is 2t by rho into g. Now you can see for a given fluid, the surface tension is constant, density and g is also a constant. It means the product of h and r is a constant. So if I take a tube of smaller height than the rise of this fluid, so I can write h into r is h dash into r dash, such that the product of these two terms remains constant. So if h is smaller, h dash, then r dash will be larger. That is, the fluid is going to adjust the surface itself in such a way that the radius of curvature increases. So r dash is more than r, the radius of curvature of the fluid increases in such a way that the liquid is not going to come out of the surface like a fountain. It is not going to spill out of it from this. So this is how it happens. Now there is another correction applied to this. You know that I have assumed the liquid column to be a cylinder. If h is the height through which the fluid rises, r is the radius of the tube, small r, and this is the radius of curvature. Now if I assume this to be a cylinder, then the volume of this cylinder will be taken into account, which we have considered. And if I take this much volume, then this liquid is having extra volume, which I have taken for the purpose of calculation. So there is a correction applied to this, and the value of the correction applied for the rise of the fluid is given by h is 2t cos theta divided by r rho g. If I take theta equal to 0 degree, which is very general case for pure water and glass, and the correction for this is minus r by t. I am writing the direct value for this without derivation, just for your knowledge. So this is the extra term which has to be subtracted out of the value of h, and this takes into account the volume of the fluid contained in this. So this excess volume is subtracted so that we get the true cylindrical volume. So this is the correction factor applied here. Note it down, please. Let us discuss what happens when we join two tubes of different diameters to form a U-tube, and a liquid is filled in it. So what will be the difference of capillary rise in the two tubes? So we are having here these two tubes of radius R1 and another of radius R2. R1 is less than R2. So obviously the product of H and R is constant, so the value of H1 will be more than H2. If I join these two tubes like this is a U-tube having differential size. The diameter is not constant. For this part, the diameter is more, for this part, it is less. So, what will be the difference of the liquid in the two columns, or the pressure difference when these are joined? So, we know that H1 is more than H2. So, if I fill it with the same liquid, on this side, the liquid is having this level, whereas on this side, the liquid is having this level. So, this is the difference of these two. H is the difference of pressure. How can we find this? Let us assume that the angle of contact for this particular question is 0 degree. It may be different. 0 degree, we can assume it, or it may be given in the question, not necessarily that you can take it 0 degree for every case. And the surface tension of the liquid which has been filled, which is water, 0.073 Newton per meter. You can assume this value 0.07 or 0.073, around this same value for water, and the value of R1 is 3 mm, R2 is 6 mm. So what will be the difference of the liquid in these two limbs, left and right? Now H is equal to 2t cos theta by R rho g. The density of water is in 1000 kilogram per meter cube. So here theta is 0. So H is cos 0 is 1, 2t by R rho g. So H is equal to H1 minus H2, which I can write 2t divided by r1 rho g minus 2t by r2 rho into g. Except the radius, all other things are same because the liquid is same. So H is 2t divided by rho into g 1 by r1 minus 1 by r2. So if you put the values in this, 0.073 into 2 by 1000 into 9.8, and this is in millimeter. So let us convert this into meter 3 mm. 1 by 0.003 minus 1 by 0.006. So this will give you the answer, which is around 2.5 or 2.48 mm. Now if I replace this tube, if I replace this a tube of uniform diameter such that the level of the liquid will remain same. In that case, I can write, suppose the tube is having a radius given by r dash 2t by rho g 1 by r1 minus 1 by r2. So we can write from this that r dash is equal to r1 r2 divided by r2 minus r1. So if I use a tube of this much radius, r dash equal to r1 r2 upon r2 minus r1, you will get the tube of uniform size, which will be having the same rise of liquid. That is, these two will be having same diameters. So if I put the values in this, 3 into 6 by this, so this is the tube of uniform diameter. So note it down, please. Question: we have a capillary tube of glass, and the size of this tube is, length of this tube is suppose 20 centimeter, length of the tube. The water rises in this tube through a height of say 8 centimeter. Just an example, we have water in it, it rises through a height of 8 centimeter and the length of tube is 20 centimeter. Now my question is, if I put this tube in a freely falling elevator, that is the lift, then what will be the length of the tube required? What will happen in that case? So if I put it in a freely falling elevator, in that case, the acceleration A is equal to G. And we know that H is 2t cos theta by r rho g. So all other terms are constant for the combination of this glass and water. So H here is proportional to 1 by g. So we know that in case of a free falling elevator, G effective, which is G minus A, here it becomes 0. The effective value of acceleration with respect to G becomes 0. So as this becomes 0, H is tending towards infinity. Infinity means very large value as compared to this size. So in that case, obviously the water will come out of this length 20 centimeter. If I take the same tube, so the length of tube here will be insufficient. So whatever value of tube length we are having in this case, the water will be coming out of this. Now one thing you should mind here, that the capillary tube cannot be of the size of, let's say, 1 meter or 2 meter. So that you can say that if it is very large, then if I take a very long tube, the water is not going to come out. The size of the tubes are limited because, as I told you, the ratio of this radius to the length of the tube is very small, less than 1 by 100. And the radius is very small for the capillary tube, even of the order of the hair. So in that case, the height is automatically uh, cannot be having a very large value. So the answer to this question is the 20 centimeter tube is not sufficient to contain the water. Even tube of any size will not be sufficient to contain the water, and X will be very large, so the water will come out of this tube.